I was inspired to be a part of this training because my journey of healing childhood trauma brought me here. And because I so 1000% believe in it, I wanted to be able to teach it to other people. You know, I had spent years in talk therapy, and it just wasn't getting me to where I wanted to go. So I was introduced to the art practice at a weekend, and it transformed my life. It brought hope to my life, it brought possibility, and as I've continued in my own healing through this and even through the training, it brings more hope and more possibility. So I'm a teacher at heart. That was my original profession, and I feel greatly called to pass this along so that others might be healed too.
How has your experience been in this first intensive?
Woo! Wow. Oh my, it's, it's almost hard to put into words, the journey that seems like a long journey that just happened in 4 days. I've learned a lot, but not with my head. It's all been heart learning. It has taught me that there are safe spaces to be in, and not just safe spaces, but loving safe spaces. I had a particularly hard moment in the training that I think had I not had this container, it would have been very damaging to me. And what has happened is that hard triggered moment has been transformed into a healing that I did not think was possible. One of the great learnings of this training for me was I needed to learn to ask for what I need and what I wanted, which is not something that was very easy for me. So after I had this pretty, what I would say, bad yet ultimately good triggered experience, I knew there needed to be some kind of ritual burning of something, of a picture that I drew, and Amrita recognized it. Actually, I think Amrita felt it before I ever did. I didn't even know I needed it. And so whatever was on the schedule was paused so that these 12 women that love me showed up for a ceremony of burning. And I was surprised that they all showed up, every one of them.
What excites you about sacred sexual awakening and healing?
I think the most thing is the possibility of transformation for people. There are so many people walking around that they don't even know they need this because our society and culture shuts us down. But I believe underneath everybody who's walking around is the sense that there is something more, that there is something deeper, there is something more meaningful, and something more profound in life and in living and in loving. So when I think about this work, it's an avenue for that deeper, more conscious living. So for me, it's both a healing work, but also a deepening work. This training has led me that what I thought was my healing has been expanded to this new healing that I would have never guessed about. So one thing about this training is it has brought to the surface things I didn't even know were there. So what excites me is that the possibility of even one person or 1 million people living any of these things, going deeper, feeling loved, getting healing, seeing the world beyond what culture is saying that the world is, because a lot of it is just not true. A lot of what culture is telling me is not true or telling us. So anything that I can be a part of that brings truth forward, that brings openness forward, that brings inclusiveness forward. I mean, all that's wrapped up in love, but there's all kinds of components. And that brings compassion for others forward. then I want in. Oh, I love Amrita. She's a badass. And what I mean by that is she walks her walks, talks her talk, and she doesn't take shit from anybody. I love that about her. But mostly what I love about Amrita is she has so much compassion that it could fit the universe. Literally, I've seen it. And she embodies the work that she is putting forth. And you know, when you see true authenticity, you know it. You know it, you feel it, not just a knowing in your head, you feel it. And she truly embodies that work. She believes in what she's doing. She also is organized and thinks about little details about space and how things are laid out. She does a really good job of teaching us to hold space for people after they debrief. I knew from the moment I got here that she held me. Even though I didn't know her that well, I knew she held me. And I knew she held the whole group. And the next great thing about her is she's so joyous about this work. We don't see joy very much in the world. So to see someone's joy, to see someone's passion for something that is bringing so much good and love and joy to the world, who doesn't want to be a part of that? And who doesn't want to know that person? So that's who Amrita is. And she's funny too. And she dances well. The tools and skills and values that I think has been brought to me through this training. You know, I've always considered myself a very high integrity person. In fact, it's one of my highest values, that I have that integrity and that people see that integrity to me. Amrita's teaching has even brought it to a higher level. And especially in interacting, just in personal interactions with other women, or really with other people. I mean, I've learned things to bring integrity to interactions with my own daughter. So that integrity piece is so important. I think I could leave here today with the skill of creating a safe space, and not just a safe space, but an inviting space, and a space that people would want to be in. That's Amrita's attention to detail. I will be able to do the practice after having left this week. And I feel pretty confident about my ability. I'm nervous about it, but very excited about practicing more, making the process not just a step I do because I was taught, but sort of creating it as my own with those steps included, putting my touch on it. I think the biggest value I am learning, and I had with my background of abuse, this was hard for me, but to value the sacredness of sexuality, of sex, of love, of worthiness, of my own ability to love and be loved. All those words are thrown around in culture. So they have become inauthentic words. What this has taught me is, let's get back to what they really, really mean, which is sacred. Love is sacred. Sex is sacred. Who we are is sacred. And people would need to be reminded of that again and again and again. So this needs to go throughout the whole world. People need this. My need after being with these women is to be able to ask whatever I wanted to ask, knowing that it was going to be held in love and not shame. So I will leave here with 12 women who I can ask what I want to ask, who will hold me in love. And when I do feel shame, which it'll come back, it comes back for all of us, they'll hold that too and help me to turn it around from shame to love. If someone were thinking about taking this training after my excitement, I would be most interested in why. And I would encourage her to talk to other people who've been in the training. This is a serious training, and Amrita doesn't just take anybody. I think there's a level of maturity that has to be there. So I would say run with the feeling you're having. If you are thinking about taking this training, do what you need to do to figure that call out. Maybe it's talking to people who have been through it. If you want to be a part of something that is bigger than yourself, that is even bigger than Amrita or the practice itself, then this is a place to do that. Because I really believe that this our practice is so needed in the world that eventually the world is going to catch on. And you'll be able to say, I was there at the beginning. If you want to be a part of something that is emerging, I mean, it's like a seed that keeps coming up and is going to flower, and it's going to flower big, I think. Who doesn't want to be a part of that, right?